Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Carol, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Gretta, Kathleen, and of course, the Realm of Beings. We'd like to remind everyone you can always experience Shifting Impressions and what our latest programming is, or rewatch any of our podcasts by tuning into our website, www.therealmofbeings.com, Facebook, Instagram, Transformation Network, Spotify, YouTube, or any of your favorite streaming platforms. Please go ahead and follow us and like us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find us listed there as Shifting Impressions. We at Shifting Impressions are very happy to be here on Transformation Network every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Listeners and viewers, if you're new to the podcast, thank you for joining us and being part of this experience. These conversations will help you to examine your life, your creation of reality, to see what you're creating, how it shows up, and how to help you gain perspective so you can learn how to shift what you don't want to create what you want. So welcome everyone to our new listeners and viewers to the podcast. Each week, Gretta shares with us a quote given to her from the Realm of Beings, which the three of us will discuss first, and later on in the show, the realm will come in and expound on it. And this week, we're focusing on Mother's Day coming up. So the realm has given us the quote, "Mothers for humanity come in various sizes, various looks, and vary in spirituality, all of which affect their children who are birthed or not birthed by them. All, regardless of how they become the mother of an individual, serve the purpose of supporting the how of each person's creation of reality." So a little clarification, when we say birthed or not birthed, obviously there's adoptive mothers as well as, birth mothers and pet mothers, as I am one. So we're talking mothers of all kinds. Gretta has recently taught me that as an in vitro or in utero fetus, we are aware and are able to hear and see from our surroundings. So our mother's world, what she's discussing, seeing, speaking, is affecting us that young. And in honor of Mother's Day, I'm going to show a little picture of baby Carol with her mommy. And if you go to Shifting Impressions on Instagram, you could get a better look at that little picture. I know that Kathleen has the wonderful picture of her great-grandmother. Is it, Kathy?
No, actually, this is my great-great-grandmother. This is Lizzie.
Wow, impressive.
And she was born enslaved. And just thinking about the quote, I have pictures of quite a few of my great-great-grandmothers. I'm lucky enough to have that. And it's just something to really reflect upon. I don't even know what it would be like or what was happening in utero with her son, Jack Clay, my great-grandfather. How do you know? How do you know what's going on? But we persevered as a family, and we're here. And thanks to these mothers, my great-great-grandmothers, and everyone else is out there, and your grandmothers, My grandmothers played a very important role in my life. They really, really did. More so than, sometimes you just forget, and it's been so long since they were, gone that if you don't have a picture, you don't remember what they even look like. But to find
Yeah.
this picture online on family, like the websites from other family members has been a blessing.
You're lucky that you have that, Kathy. In my family, we weren't much with the cameras, unfortunately. And what you mentioned about her influence, it's again, we're choosing when we're born and we choose our parents, which would include our mother. It also brings to us the epigenetics. So your great grandmother's living condition at her time, in her time, even though we know time is an illusion, is still in effect today. So that was very good that you brought that up, Kathy. Thank you for sharing it.
Mhm.
Greta,
Oh, here's my mom.
let's see. Wow, she's so pretty. There's where you get your good looks, Greta. She
Oh,
is
She's like a
pretty.
thank
Girl
you.
Scout with that hat on. Don't you?
She does. Oh my God, I thought the
See,
same thing.
that was the times. In the
How old was she then?
1940s.
She looks very young.
She must have been in her
Teenager?
20s. She had to be.
20s? Really? Wow, she looks even younger than that. Beautiful, beautiful.
So that's my mom. Interesting. She had a challenging life. And I was just thinking about her about 3 or 4 days ago. And I had to change my whole um, thoughts because when she died, it was really quite a challenging time, for me. Um, I think even growing up was challenging for me, because I was influenced by her feelings of self, and I know my mother went through abandonment issues because her mother died when she was young from tuberculosis. Because back in those days,
That
they
was very common.
right, right. So she lost her mother at that time, and then her father was, for some odd reason, became mentally challenged. So he was taken away from her, and so she grew up with my great grandfather and my great grandmother
Mhm.
by way of marriage. But my great grandmother and great grandfather were cousins, but not close cousins. Back then you could marry your cousin. So, they married each other, and my great grandfather then in turn signed the papers for my mom that he would be her guardian. He took over guardianship of her. But see, she never really understood that. I remember one day she came to me, um, I must have been about 13 years old or something. No, maybe 14. And she found some papers and she said, grandfather really did love me. She felt that he didn't love her because he was very silent. My great grandfather was someone that he was very quiet. He didn't talk very much. He just sat and he read his paper. And we didn't have a TV at that time, Then later on we got one. So we'd all sit down and, as a family. I just remember I was really reared by my great grandparents. And I was reared by the elders in my family.
But that's because your mother worked.
Not only did my mother work, but my mother went to school as well.
There you go.
Right. So, but I'm even talking at night. I think my mother, she had an illness. I think she had a thyroid challenge because she had a goiter challenge, which was removed. So she felt tired all the time. So when she came home from work or she came home from working and then going to school, she'd go straight to lay down and go to sleep. So who did I interact with but my great great grandfather and my great great grandmother? And seeing back in those days, you were taught, sit down, be quiet, and
Quiet.
listen.
That's right. Children were seen and not heard.
Not
Absolutely.
heard.
Mhm.
True.
That's why my nickname was Old Trumpet Ears, because I
And
heard everything.
you heard everything.
And then my father would go, hold up, where's Old Trumpet Ears? Because, our childhood, Greta, you were talking about epigenetics, was the civil rights movement. And there were things they tried to shelter you, and not let your world be destroyed by the happenings around you. But yeah, my nickname was Old Trumpet Ears, and but that's how I learned about the family history and other people, and I was always fascinated by what their life was like, and I have almost total recall of a lot of the stories. But that's when I realized what's coming to me is that I could, because I didn't know I was like going remote or there's no time, I was able to just, wow, just experience those same stories where I thought it was me doing it. Am I making sense, Greta?
Mhm.
And at the time, I didn't know it. And Carol, my mother used to get so mad at me, and I would say, "That's not what you said. You said this, and you were wearing that." And she goes, "But you weren't there." I said, "But I was there." And Elaine said this, and this one said that. And she goes, Get away from me. I told you you weren't there. You were not there. This was in Mexico. You've never been to Mexico." And I would just get so confused and just go away.
Wow.
But I did not realize that I was actually experiencing what they were experiencing. And this ties into the quote, and I was pulling up the quote again to look at it. Um, how you become a mother serve the purpose of supporting how each person's creation of reality, the spiritual message of motherhood within the confines of human experiences. And all of us are in that. Doesn't matter who you are, what ethnicity or whatever. It's the same thing. Everyone experiences it, goes through the same spiritualness
Oh,
of the spiritual message of motherhood within the confines of the human experience. But I also want to add within the contextual confines of one's own culture as well.
Oh, well, you have that. That's all part of your epigenetics.
right.
Uh, but see, then also I think that within the family structure, you have your own, there's a certain amount of creation of reality going on per family, as well. And you choose coming in who is going to serve you as far as assisting you in, or let me use the word support, supporting you in learning your lessons.
Right.
We
Right.
forget that. We forget that we chose them and we go, oh my God, some people chose more challenging situations than the rest of us. I mean, I chose a parent. I didn't realize I chose the woman, and I thought that she wasn't my mother. It took me until I was about 10 because I knew my father came in and out. They were divorced when I was a baby. So, I would see him occasionally coming in just to say how I was. And it didn't dawn on me that she was really truly my mother and not someone that just had picked me up out of the ethos and said, okay, you're mine. I didn't realize it until when my father came on my birthday, brought me a doll and told me that he was leaving and I wasn't going to see him again, that he was taking my brothers and his wife, his new wife, they were moving to California. So I remember going through the thought process of trying to think of why am I being left behind? If my brothers get to go, why am I not going? Why am I being left with this lady, you know, that I was questioning, is she really my mother? You know? And so when he left, I said, I went through a whole metamorphosis because I said, well, here you are. You're left with this woman as your mother. Because I'll tell you, it was not easy for me. And, my mother, was a lot of her emotional and psychological challenges she projected on me. So I became the scapegoat. If I did anything wrong, just children things, just children things. I like to explore. I was a child that liked to explore things. And I remember one night I had scissors. I don't remember how old I was, but maybe I was 6 or something like that, maybe even younger. I don't know. But I remember I took the sheets and I wanted to see if you pull the sheets up in peaks, and you cut off the top, what size would the hole be?
So, what size was the belt you got beat with is what I want to know. I know
That's
that
almost
was
that was almost as bad as my taking the hula hoops that we played with in the dirt outside and bringing them in my mother's white sheets. I mean, she was known to have the whitest sheets in because that's when you hung them up on the line. There were no dryers. And my brother and I made crisscross and made tents under this white sheets with the dirty hula hoops. And she went ballistic. Greta, can I ask you something? I find it interesting that your biological mother, you said, faced abandonment issues, and so did you. Do you think you
Absolutely.
learned that from her?
I think that's part of me
The
coming here.
epigenetics?
And that, yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
I think that, see, I chose her to that whole lineage I chose. It's because I'm beginning to think now that it's not just the parents we choose, but what is the lineage that we're attached to? What is the lineage?
Exactly.
And the lineage provided me with different types of psychic experiences because I was part of that. I've told this story on the podcast before, I think a long time ago, but I remember my mother, because my father was Catholic, they sent me to a Catholic school. And of course, in the Catholic school, they talked about Mother Mary, and you learn about Lourdes, and you learn about the other visions and appearances of Mother Mary to children. And I remember I was laying in my bed in my room because now I had my own room and this woman came through the window and floated by my bed. And she had on garb that made her look like a nun. When the nuns used to wear the long
The
veil.
habits.
Yeah. But she wasn't dressed like she was dressed in all white, like. So she reminded me of Fatima, the Mother Mary at Fatima. So I was really so excited. I was so excited. I said, oh my God, I've been blessed. I've seen Mother Mary myself. I was so excited, you know, and I couldn't wait to tell my mother because she floated through the window and went out the wall. So when it was time to get up, I told my mother, Mom, Mom, I said, I saw Mother Mary. She just looked at me. I said, she came in through the window, floated past my bed, went out the wall. And I was excited because I was going to go to school and tell everybody, including the nuns, that my peers, I have seen Mother Mary for real, for real. My mother looks very, very quietly and serenely at me, and she says, Greta, you did not see Mother Mary. You saw the ghost that lives in the basement of this house.
Oh gosh.
I was so outdone. You're talking about a downer. That was really a downer for me. But it taught me that my mom had the same abilities as I had, you see,
Mm-hmm.
because up until that time, I never knew that. Because it showed me that in order for her to tell me that, she had to have seen the woman herself.
Well, you know what? Y'all had a very, I know I chose an interesting family because the only thing I remember is, I never could get into all of the Catholic, we were Lutherans and Baptists and Seventh-day Adventists. And I just remember that stuff just confused the devil out of me. My grandmothers, my mother, everybody told me different stories. So we decided one day we were going to dig for the devil. And we took spoons and we were digging at the bottom of the step. And
My
got dark.
goodness.
And what we were going to do, we were planning on killing the devil. How we were going to do that, I don't know. But got called in and went in. My mother went to take the trash out and fell in a hole and broke her ankle. And the only
Oh
thing
my
I remember
goodness.
is her hopping around on one foot with that belt, slapping us all around with it. But you should have seen it when we accidentally killed the bird because they told us the little birdie always tells them everything that you do. And we were trying to surprise her and we didn't want the bird to tell her what we were up to. So instead of covering the cage like we suggested, my oldest brother decided we should put the bird in a brown paper bag. But of course, the bird in the
Oh.
cage. So then we spent the first hour trying to catch the bird and put him back into the bag. And long story short, my mother pretty much was a bear. Ramona was a bear. My grandmothers were very meek and mild, but my mother was a bear. I don't know what this has to do with anything with this conversation, except when I think about how my mother, epigenetically, looking at the link from the pictures that I've shown you, I mean, my great grandfather on my mother's side was born enslaved. So my mother got whippings. It was three kinds. You had a spanking, which is in a hand, a beating, and then you had a whipping. And they actually used the terminology from a plantation because they saw people getting whipped. And so epigenetically, and throughout the family lineage, I chose a lineage where that type of punishment floated right on through. I've never hit my own children because of that. But it's just interesting when you're talking, Greta, I'm thinking about the family that I chose and the women in my family.
Mhm.
And my grandmothers and my great grandparents and all of that kind of stuff, and how their hardships, their life experiences through the Great Migration. I mean, because Carol, we're really Russians. We rushed up north to get here because staying down south was a rough ride. But it's interesting when you think about the family that you choose to become, that you choose to join and incarnate with. My question is, when I go in my transitional portal, are some of the same people going to be there with me? And is that what has been happening from all the portals I've been in, all the families? Is that possible?
If
Well, see,
you're
now
creating it, right?
you're getting
She
into
has to create
another
that.
subject as well, because when you talk transitional portal, then that takes us into an explanation of death. But the thing is that we'll have to explain that to the audience real quickly, and that is nobody ever dies. That's the first thing. To die is absolutely positively impossible. What you do is that you will uh, go into a transitional portal, which some people refer to as heaven. Some people refer to it as nirvana, different names according to every different cultural framework
Cultures.
and
Mm.
religious beliefs. So, but anyway, for us, we just call it the transitional portal. And that is where you decide what lessons you want to uh, experience over again, or what lessons you have not learned. Because what lessons you haven't learned in this transitional portal, you're moving it to another, you're going to
The
take it.
next one.
Yeah, you're going to take it with you. Because the idea is
Hmm.
that you're supposed to learn the lessons, you know. Um, so in that, let's tie it into motherhood now. When you get into your next transitional portal, because you started off with this lineage, you're going to still be in that lineage.
Well, I was asking.
So you're going to feel that this is your mother and your father. Now, how old you decide to be, because see, you can, when you go to your next transitional portal, you can decide to be a child or you can decide to be an adult. Even if you're an adult, you're going to feel everything of you having been a child and having chosen the same mother. So you will be experiencing the same mother, the same parents in every transitional portal you make.
And you will
That's
still be you. That's
Absolutely.
another thing, is
Yeah,
you're always
because
you.
people think that, okay, because people believe in past lives, they believe in the past. I always tell people, I said, there is no past, there's only the now. There is no future. It's only right here. You're always in the now. You're never in another time zone. You know, it's one of the things that we as humanoids constructed to help us deal with things that we think happened in the past. But we don't realize because we haven't been created to realize it. See, that's the thing.
Right.
Each species has a different characteristics. You know, if you were born a Pleiadian, you're going to have certain characteristics, certain lessons, general lessons, along with your own individual lessons that you've been given. Okay. And I know people are going to say, well, how can you say we were given these lessons? It's if you go back to your very beginning of the incarnate stage. So you incarnate once, okay? In the life that you are in now, you incarnate once. You don't go through this incarnation and you go through another incarnation. You incarnate once. Once you've gotten on the roll, you stay in that role. You stay Greta, you stay Carol, you stay Kathy until we get all the way to what will be the end. But the end is that we understand that we're the force. Until we understand that we are the force, we're going to keep on going. But you're going to keep on going with the idea that you have the same parents. You don't flip parents. You don't flip anything. However, now to get back to Kathy's question, do you take the same mothers? If you can create a transitional portal where you're old enough that your parents are no longer with you. They've made their own transition. So therefore, in your transitional portal, you're thinking, okay, they're gone. You feel that they've gone through the funeral and you've gone through all that stuff, but they are your parents. You have you're going to keep a conceptualization
You
of.
still have the memories. You still have the memories,
Well,
basically.
and where is not all of it, because you don't remember, how do I want to say it, Carol?
I'm not sure.
You're gonna remember that you belong to a family. That's gonna come with you. Because you know why it's gonna come with you? Because it's a lesson.
Right,
You
right.
didn't come into that family or get that mother just by chance.
By accident. Yeah,
No.
no, it's part of the how of learning your
And I know
lessons.
we have to go to break, Carol, but you know what just
Yeah,
hit me in the head just went is that why some people it's like I feel like I don't belong here. It's like, who are these people? You know, is this
Well,
real
see
life? Is your
that
mother? Is this your whole thing? Was that your mother? I mean, is
yeah.
that part of that whole experience of going through that transition and being in this transitional portal where you're going, oh, was she? I thought I was adopted. I thought I was from another planet. I really did. And you had the same experience. I'm wondering if that's part of the process, where you pick the time where you want to start.
Absolutely. But see, there's always a beginning in that the incarnate, which is an aspect of the force, created you see. And then when it creates you, you choose the how. How do I want to learn these lessons? Because see, we're really learning the lessons of the force. The force is what each and every one of us is. I don't care if you're reptilian, I don't care if you're Pleiadian, I don't care if you're Arcturian, I don't care what you are. You are the force in manifestation in humanoidness. You are the force expressing itself in being human. You are the force expressing itself in being Pleiadian. You are the force expressing yourself being Arcturian. We are expressions of the force, and I can take it deeper. It's not even just expressions. We are the force.
right,
So the purpose is for us, it's learning lessons because the force wants to experience itself. It experiences itself through each one of us. And the human mothers, provide us with um, that process.
right. That makes sense.
So they
Ladies, we've gone deeper than we expected, and we do have to take a quick break so we can hear from the realm about this. Listeners and viewers, we ask that you stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are shifting impressions, conversations with the realm of beings. We have reached that portion of the podcast where the realm will come in and discuss the quote that they have given to Greta that we've been discussing the past part of the show. So, realm, can we say welcome to you, please?
Welcome and happy Mother's Day to all of the women who are mothers that have given birth to little munchkins. We want to say, recognize the fathers as well who are in situations where they are acting as mothers, you see.
The fathers will get a day next month, so we will have a whole show we can dedicate to them too, if we choose. Well, Realm, this is the quote you gave that is in relation to Mother's Day. Specifically, it says, mothers for humanity come in various sizes, various looks, and vary in spirituality, all of which affect their children who are birthed or not birthed by them. All, regardless of how they become the mother of an individual, serve the purpose of supporting the how of each person's creation of reality. So would you kindly expound on that for us, please, Realm?
Being a mother is an interesting experience because through the mothers, and it's also with the dads. I don't want to leave out the dads, Carol. I know you said we're going to be talking about them next week or when Father's Day.
Next month, right.
But I can't leave them out because they are an integral part. They play an integral part with the mothers. And there are many fathers out there throughout the world who are playing both roles, mother and father, as there are many women throughout the world who are playing not only the part of mother, but also the part of father. So, with that said, now I'm going to hone into what are the responsibilities of motherhood spiritually. The responsibilities of a mother spiritually, regardless, that role. I want to look at the role, not so much the human being, but the role of being a mother, playing a mother's role. That is the nurturance that comes in. But the nurturance, when it comes in according to what the lessons of the child has to learn, you see. Because some mothers come in like wolves in the night. Other mothers come in like Mother Goose, in your fairy tales and stuff. But nonetheless, they support the creation of reality. Because once that process of conception has occurred, and once that conception has occurred, you are receiving the epigenetics of both individuals. You're experiencing the lineage of both individuals. You're experiencing the genetic makeup of both individuals. And therefore, you come into the world. But when you are in that womb, you are also experiencing creation of reality. Because each moment of you changing inside that womb, developing inside that womb, is a creation of reality. Then you get a little bit more and a little bit more. And now we're 6 months into the womb. 6, 7, 8, and 9. You're able to see and hear everything. So you're even more now, more and more through your mother, the physical mother that you have. You are learning about physical reality. And you are creating with inside that little space inside your mother. You see, you're learning what it's like to be human. You're learning some of your lessons right there inside that womb. You see. So the birth mother plays a very, very important part. And that birth mother, once you decide that it's time for you to come out, and you decide how you're coming. Are you coming head first? Are you coming feet first? That's your decision. Are you coming early or are you coming late? If you're one that decided, I want to hurry up and get here, then you're going to come a little bit earlier because you want to pop out into all of this enormous illusion. You're ready for it. You're ready for it because you've learned about it inside the birth mother's womb. Okay, now you're out. And you say, okay, well, I'm here. Is this the woman that I am to complete my experiences with? Some of you choose, yes, I'm staying with this woman. I'm learning these experiences through her. Other children say, well, I'm ready for my next one. Who's going to be my next one? Oh, yes, I want that one over there. So off you go and you're adopted. Or mother says, for whatever reason, your birth mother says, I cannot take care of this baby. Why? Because the baby decides, I want to stay in this family. So send me to grandma. Grandma's going to rear me, and my grandfather will rear me. But I'm staying in the same family. Others, we move to a different family because now we want a different type of experience. So we set up our experiences in not levels, but stages. I want this experience in this birth mother, but I only want that experience in that birth mother for a period of time. Some of us, when we're in there, we decide that we only want 4 months inside that birth mother's womb, and then we're exiting because we only wanted to experience this humanoid life for 4 months. So there's so many decisions that we make in reference to motherhood and to mothers, you see. Because then we can say that I I don't, my birth mother, I'm leaving. I don't need that anymore. I'm going to carry on my lineage. I'm going to carry on the genetic makeup, but I want to experience another type of family. So I may choose to go to a family where the mother and the father are both of the same sexual connotation. Because in that, that's the family that I want to be reared in. There are so many different types of family that we can choose to be a part of. We don't have to be a part of where you have a physical female and you have a physical male. Because sometimes we can choose to be with a physical female and a physical male inside that family. And as we grow in it, we go, oh my God, how did I choose them? You know, when you hear the screaming and the anger and you see the violence as you're out there as a child. Are these people really what I chose? Yes, you did. You chose them because you chose to have that experience for your growth. We choose each thing is an opportunity for your growth. So each birth mother facilitates various opportunities for our growth, you see. Now we could decide, well, I I want this mother, but she can't hold me in her womb. But I still want her mother. I want her to be my father, and I mean, mother, and I want him to be my dad. But she can't hold me. So then I create, because I want this particular woman to be my mother. I then create to go to another woman, spend time in her uterus, in her little growth pouch, growing and growing and growing. And then I pop out. And then I'm returned to from that space inside one woman, and I'm returned to the woman that I wanted to be my mother, but she was unable to hold me, you see. So I come back. So as humans, we are all always creating all kinds of ways to enter into this space and to stay in this space, you see. Of
Well,
course, we are not human, so our whole thing is totally different from yours.
that was my question. I was going to ask, is motherhood the same throughout all the different species throughout the galaxies, or is ours unique just to humans?
When you were created with certain characteristics that fit humans. Remember, we've talked about the different aspects of the force.
Yeah.
And we said one of the aspects of the force is the white body. And the white body holds the characteristics of everything, every species, regardless of what it is. It could be a rock. It is holding all the characteristics of that rock. A rock here on Earth is not necessarily like a rock on your moon, or a rock on Mars, or a rock in another universe. You see, it's a
How is it
different
different?
species, you see. So it's different. The characteristics are for humans is different. The lessons are different. Although, let me say this, there can be an overlap. Like the overlap comes when we look at the existence protocol called create, support, create. That is something that you will find throughout all of existence. That premise is create, support, create. Everybody's doing that. Everything is doing that. Notice I said everyone and everything. You see.
Realm, I have a question. When you
Yes.
have a moment. When you mentioned just now about the human characteristics when we choose to be humans, who dictated or designed what characteristics are human or what characteristics are Arcturian or any other species? Who essentially made that design?
I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, I hope I can answer.
Who or what or it has created all of existence?
The Force.
There's your answer.
And since we're the Force, we actually designed what a human is. Is that correct?
You designed whatever a human is, whatever a rock is, whatever a tree is, whatever a blade of grass is, whatever a
Okay.
bumblebee is. All of
I
that.
answered correctly. Yay.
And you get a star.
Well, then if we change our
Yeah.
thought, can we change the characteristics? No.
The characteristics, you are changing your characteristics if you take on the characteristics that are considered mental and psychological characteristics. See, characteristics don't always have to be physical. The characteristics are also emotional, psychological, mental, spiritual. All of those characteristics are there.
Hmm.
Physical.
That's
How
what makes our personalities too, right?
well your personality is that which is established to assist you in being in the state of illusion, existing in the state of illusion. That has.
Ah, okay.
Oh my. I
How's it
don't
look
know
again?
if the audience can hear that, but it sounds like a little space person from outer space. You had that program on TV?
Yeah, there were a lot of space programs I grew up with.
Well, the one with Kathy.
Lost in Space.
Yeah.
Star Trek. Star Trek was my favorite.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that one. Kathy was doing a good imitation of it earlier. Can
Oh,
I hear
Cousin
it
It. Yeah, that
again?
was in outer space though. That they were monsters. They were supposed to be monsters.
But they were just a very eclectic family. The Adams family?
Yeah, the Addams Family. That's
They,
where
they
Cousin
weren't
It was.
Talking about
monsters.
the Addams Family, there was a
Oh,
program
oh,
you
oh, oh,
had,
Sweet Toodles from the bar Star Wars.
Sweet Toodles.
I think there was a name. She was singing. Yeah. But
Well, it
Cousin
was a
It, you
very
guys like Cousin.
interesting sound. Very
Oh.
interesting. But there you go. There you
That
go.
was Cousin It.
Now, what that has to do with mothers? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Nothing
I
was.
just I just thought it was just interesting to hear that sound. You
I
know,
was
it
talking
sounded
to the
like, wow,
producer because that's the sound he's making.
how interesting.
It just reminded me of Cousin It. You don't understand what he's saying unless you really focus, because some people could understand what Cousin It was saying. I never could because it sounded like he had marbles in his mouth. Yeah, so.
Well, I
Well,
have an embarrassing fact to tell you, Kathy.
what?
I had a crush on Lurch when I used to watch that
It's time.
show.
It's time for us to end this show.
I
Lurch.
know, right?
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's time. It's time to end. It's time. Realm. It's time to bring Greta back.
Is it really? Are we leaving now? We want to
Unfortunately,
say
yes.
congratulations to all throughout the earth who have had the opportunity to be mothers, who have had the opportunity to grow through that experience, both physically, psychologically, mentally, and spiritually. But most important, spiritually. Because your children, however they have come to you as, are there to assist you and to support you in your growth as well as you are supporting them in their growth. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Realm. Well, that was quite an interesting program. Uh, we're going to thank Greta. We're going to thank the Realm, of course, and Kathy and Transformation Network. But most importantly, we'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners. We want to wish all the mothers happy Mother's Day. And until we create each other again, have a wonderful week.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with the Realm and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.